Hey guys, welcome back to Testing Universe. In our Selenium exceptions and error series, in this video we are going to resolve compound class names not permitted exception. So this is a kind of exception which is invalid selector exception, and in that it is a kind of sub exception which is compound class names not permitted exception. So when do we get this particular exception? If you look at the name only, you will be able to identify, right? We have a selector called driver dot find element by class name, and if we make some mistake in that class name, let us assume that, and we'll try to reproduce that. If we make some mistake in the class name, we might encounter this particular exception. So always I try to remember, by looking at the exception details only, you should be able to identify where you have gone wrong, and you should be able to fix those particular issues, right? So without wasting much time, let us go and reproduce this particular exception, and we'll try to resolve this. To resolve this particular exception, we have two different ways. So try to look at the video until the end, or watch the video until the end, and then try to get more out of it, because not in all the scenarios you will be able to resolve it in the first instance. So second instance is always the best solution, I would say. So I have already written my code. I'm landing in google.com, and then as usual I will try to enter some value over here. So to enter the value over here, what I will do, I will take class name. So I will just take this class name and put it in my notepad. You can see over here in my notepad, class is equal to glf YF, and then there is a space, and then there is one more class. So if there is a space between two values in the class attribute, then there are two classes associated with this particular class attribute. Okay, so we have to give these values, and then we will try to enter some value over here. Again, it's just an assumption. You will not have name, you will not have ID, and you don't have any other value except class. It might look like this. Your entire element might look like this. You will encounter such scenarios. Your element is this only. Okay, so your element is this. Oh, sorry, just a minute. This is your element. Only class is there, nothing else is there. Okay, so in such scenarios, how exactly we are going to handle, we'll see that one. So I'm going to write driver dot find element by dot class name, and then I will be providing these two values. Dot send keys, testing universe YouTube. So let me run this. It's going to launch Chrome browser, and then it is going to load google.com, and it has not entered the value. Ideally it should be entering the value, because I have given the same class name which is mentioned in that particular uh, element. But you can see here I have got an exception which is invalid selector exception, and compound class names not permitted. In the sense, inside dot class name, you have to give only one value, not the multiple values. In the sense, multiple class names are not permitted, or it is not supported. Okay, here I have given two class names. Sometimes in your elements you might have 4 to 5 class names also. So in such scenarios, it is not permitted. So how to resolve this, right? That's what compound class means. More than one class will be there. and then that is not permitted. How to resolve this? So if you know that this element is unique, this value is unique, you can remove one and then you can run this. So if this particular value is unique, it is going to identify that particular element, or even though if it is not unique, the first element which is encountering with this value, it is going to identify that particular element. Now you can see it has entered the value. So this is one way of resolving it, but not always you will get this class names as unique. Okay, in most of the scenarios, class names are not unique. So for that reason, what you need to do, driver dot find element. This is the first approach. This is the first approach, and then this is the second approach. The second approach, what we will do, instead of using class name, we can use CSS selectors to provide the compound values. So if you don't know which class name is unique, you can use the compound class. And you cannot use like this. In CSS selector for classes, we'll be mentioning dot, and then for the first class you mention dot, remove a space, and then for the second class also mention a dot. Okay, so this is the syntax. I will just put it in a notepad so that you guys will have the clarity. Dot the first class, dot the second class, and by CSS selector, and dot send keys. I will just copy paste this. Okay, so if I run this again, you can see here this time it has accepted two different classes also because we have used CSS selector. So this is how you can always resolve the compound classes, or you can use compound classes. So my suggestion is you can always go for CSS selector if you have compound classes to be used in your selector, right? I hope you have liked this video, and then it might have given some insights about how exactly you can frame your selectors. If you like it, please follow us in all these platforms. Thank you so much for watching.